Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I'm so excited for today's solo episode, which is on a topic that we talk about all of the time. I feel like I talk this subject to death, but the craziest part is that I've never done an episode on it. So, what? Today is an episode on setting your partner up to win and what the hell that means. So it's essentially like the guide to setting your partner up to win. And this isn't just for men, this is for women too. This is for everyone. And we're going to break it down. Sorry, I have a bad throat situation from the allergies because this season is killer. This is the worst allergy season of my life. I'm also so swollen from my allergies and the fact that I just went to Hillstone and got spinach or artichoke dip and a Ding's crispy chicken sandwich with fries. But anyway, here we go. So we're going to break it down from when you're newly seeing someone to when you're in a relationship to when you're married and then when you have kids. How can you set your partner up to win in all of said situations? Okay, so let's get into it. Let me just do a little clearing of the throat. Okay. So when you're newly seeing someone, planning dates, okay? This person is not a mind reader. If they have a suggestion that you don't like, this is your first opportunity to set them up to win, okay? So, for example, let's say they're like, hey, do you want to go to like Boca de Bepe or some like touristy place, like some place that just obviously is not good. And you have spent more time in the city, you're more hooked up, maybe you're in the food world, maybe you have connections, or maybe you just have more common sense about where to eat and what is a good vibe. This is your opportunity to set them up to win, right? They've already initiated the date. So it's fine for you to now come back and be like, actually, Boca de Bepe, I don't even know, is Boca de Bepe a real restaurant? I feel like it is. I don't know if, that's the place for me tonight, but no, hold on. Don't say it like that. Let me think this over. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's cool there, but I'm actually really craving bar pity. So would you be open to switching to there? If, we go early, I bet we can get seated because they don't take reservations. Or you could be honest with them and be like, that's not really my vibe. I'm not into the food there. What if we went to Minetta Tavern? I just got a reservation off of a Resi Alert. This is your opportunity to set them up to win, because if you end up saying, yes, I would love to go to Boca de Bepe, and then you go and the food is terrible and it's touristy and you're in Times Square or wherever it is, then you're going to associate that date with this poor man who you let flail for why? What's the reason, right? When you could have set them up to win by jumping in after the date was already initiated and the interest was already shown and helping them out a little bit, right? And that extends throughout all of the date planning process. As long as they're initiating the date, you're not only entitled to, but allowed to and encouraged to help them out if it looks like they're not doing well. And I'm not saying in a low effort situation. If the guy's always suggesting the place below his apartment that isn't that good, that's basically a bar, fuck that guy, okay? But if he's always suggesting places that he thinks are great that are not, you can jump in and be like, yeah, no, I like more of this vibe. By the way, he's going to pick up your vibe and he's going to eventually choose good places because you set him up to win. Communication when you're newly seeing someone. So this is another opportunity to set them up to win. As things come up, you might get pissed about something, maybe about the way they say something or something that they do, whatever it is. As this happens, you can set them up to win by telling them how you like things done. So for example, let's say they come over and they, you're cooking together. It's like your first cooking date and they use the oven for something that could go in the microwave. Something, as silly as that. Then you can be like, oh, no, this is a microwave family. So we're going to use the microwave tonight. Like that is what I like to be done. And I know it's so silly and so trivial, but this is something that goes a long way because he knows how you like things. This could also apply to maybe you're like, oh, my friend Nancy's so dumb. And then, he's talking to you later and he's like, should we go visit your dumb friend Nancy? And you're like, whoa, what? Only I can refer to my friend as dumb. You cannot, right? So it's like a little thing like that. And I'm telling you, this doesn't make you sound crazy. This makes you show that you are setting this guy up to win. If you don't say anything when they also call your friend Nancy dumb, and then they keep saying it in your relationship and it starts to give you the ick and you're like, why does he think it's okay to talk like that? He thinks it's okay because you never set him up for success by telling him that it's not okay, right? So we only set someone up to win when we want to have a successful relationship with them. If you don't want to have a successful relationship with someone, you can, it's not the right thing, but sure, watch them crash and burn. Don't correct them. Don't do anything. Don't tell them how you like things. That's fine. This episode in this segment is about setting someone up because you want things to go right and to have a good relationship with them. So another thing communication wise is, this one's really hard. And I get this question all the time. How can I tell them I want more communication? This is honestly the only thing you can't really set them up to win. If they are not communicating with you as much as you like, you can't really get them to do it more, unfortunately. And if they aren't, then I truly believe, and you can be upset about this if you feel differently, but this is how I feel, that they're not interested in you. If communication hasn't gotten stronger, more consistent after, 2-3 dates, it's never going to. And it doesn't come off well if you're like, I need you to talk to me more. It comes off a little desp. Again, back in the newly seeing someone stage, don't judge them. And this is imperative for when they first start opening up to you. This is a very vulnerable position to be in. They're opening up to you. They're telling you about their family life. They're telling you about this. If they open up to you and they're like, yeah, my sister cheated on her husband and they're getting a divorce. If you judge that situation, right? If you're like, oh my God, I can't believe your sister would do that, whatever. Not that you would say that. The right person with the right EQ would ask questions and listen and observe and understand. But this is an opportunity, when they open up to you, for you to set them up to win and yourself to win by creating a judgment-free zone. If you do this, then they know that you're someone that they could come to time and time again with any type of information and you won't judge. If their best friend cheats on their bachelor party, guess who's going to find out? You are, because you are someone who listens without judging. But if you respond to this and you're like, cheating is very not okay with me. I was cheated on before and I will not tolerate it. Even in someone's family, I will not be okay. I will not stand by. Like, this person is now afraid to ever open their mouth again. Another example of this is, talking about another controversial subject, like maybe porn, for example. Let's say they open up to you and they're like, yeah, like I'm a porn watcher. Like I don't really see a problem with it, whatever. Or like even they're talking about masturbating. They're, you're starting to get into the sex conversation. This is like a little later into it. And they're like, yeah, I like to masturbate. It's important to prioritize my sexual health, whatever it is, right? And you're like, oh, well, that's not okay with me when I'm in a relationship with someone. They're not allowed to masturbate or whatever, That is shutting the door for them to feel comfortable opening up to you about these vulnerable and intimate parts of them, right? And so I'm not telling you how to feel about them watching porn, how to feel about them masturbating, but I'm just telling you that when you tell them it's not okay, like something like that is not okay, versus exploring and being curious about it for them, like, oh, how do you feel about that? Have you been in a past relationship where you did that? Was it ever a problem? Curiosity, asking questions, because if you don't do that, it can create a situation where this person tiptoes and maybe even lies to you when they do it. And the same is true reverse, right? If you're like, yeah, sometimes I like to go out and, hit a jewel with my friends. Like, I don't know what maybe some girls might do. And they're like, jeweling is despicable. I think it's so gross when a girl jewels or smokes a cigarette. Then you're now having to hide something from him. So it goes both ways, you know, set them up to win and set them up to win by harnessing a really open and non-judgmental environment for each other. Moving on to when you're in a relationship. Just need some water. Okay, so when you're newly in a relationship with someone, this is, in my opinion, when setting them up to win is most paramount. So you're meeting, let's say, their parents for the first time. I get this question every Friday during AMA. Someone's like, I'm going to meet so-and-so's parents. What do I bring? Here's the deal. Nobody knows your significant other's parents better than your significant other. This is their opportunity to set you up to win. This is your opportunity to set them up to win. This is where you say, my parents are obsessed with Levain cookies. If you brought those and a bottle of my dad's favorite red wine, you'd crush it, you know? Why wouldn't you set your partner up to win when they're meeting your parents? This is not an opportunity to test someone. And by the way, I'm actually against testing altogether. You might think that I'm not because of the rules. I'm not. I'm not into testing. I really think that it's one of the dumbest things that you can do. And that's what this entire episode is the opposite of. Like, we don't test and we don't, you know, trick and all of that stuff. We tell them what to bring. We set them up to win. And another thing I really like when you're first meeting each other's parents is like, tell them what to ask your sister about. Like, what lights your sister up, you know, right? So if someone were coming to meet my family for the first time, I'd be like, oh my God, ask my sister about her kids, you know, ask my sister about her upcoming travel plan, like whatever it is, you know, that I know that she's going to be excited to talk about. Ask my sister what it was like figuring out like how to be more religious, whatever it is, you know, tell your partner what to ask them. And also tell your partner what topics are off limits, right? Was there a cousin who just passed away from a drug overdose, God forbid? Maybe don't bring up drugs, not that they would, right? But like, was there someone who, you know, died in a boating accident? Don't talk about your love of boats this trip, right? Like, do something to set them up to win. And when I think about all of my past relationships that didn't work out, I remember that I was never set up to win. And maybe I never set them up to win, right? But I remember specifically, I went to go meet a guy I was dating's parents, and it was one of the most brutal experiences for me ever. And I've talked about this before in the podcast, and I'm sure you could put the pieces together of who this ex was, but it was a brutal experience. The parents didn't listen to music, okay, which is something I've never experienced in my life. The parents were very different from my parents culturally, and I was not guided in any way of, oh yeah, my mom's a lawyer, you know, talk to her about how difficult law school was, or talk to her about being one of 5 siblings and all of the rest are boys. I don't know. I didn't know anything. I wasn't set up. I didn't know. And I actually remember when I was leaving, meeting his parents, which I already knew was over for so many reasons that in my mind that I wanted to end it. But this person I was dating was like, my mom really likes a handwritten letter. Like, she really values handwritten letters. But he told me as we were leaving. So obviously I mailed her one, even though we broke up shortly after. But like, tell me then so I could write one while I'm there, or like leave one while I don't know. It was just, you know, so don't do that unless you want to set your partner up to fail, which is a whole other episode that I don't think you need an episode on because it's pretty clear how to do that. Gifts. So when you're in a relationship, ideally your partner gets you gifts for reasons, like for occasions, right? Anniversary, birthday, Valentine's Day, whatever other holiday we make up. And it's really great if your partner is thoughtful enough to get you a gift. it can also be really awful if your partner has no idea what to get you and not necessarily great taste. So, for example, this same person actually once got me a pearl necklace. A pearl necklace. Do I look like I want a pearl necklace? I mean, is that not insane? So obviously this was a unique circumstance, but generally, right? You want to set your partner up to get you a gift that you like because gifts are expensive. Some of them can't be returned. And this, I think, is your opportunity to send links, right? Or make a wish list. Or if you're shopping with your significant other, be like, by the way, and I literally say this to Stephen all the time. I'm like, this is a sweater that I would like as a gift. Like if we're in a shop or something. And he either writes a note or makes a mental note. The other day we were walking up Madison Avenue and we passed a store called La Ligne. And I was like, by the way, if you ever want to get me a gift, I really like everything by this brand. Very quick, off the tongue, rolled off, very easy. Now he has not only a mental picture, but a physical remembering of that store, where it was, what I said, right? Very, very easy. And if you can't send links because you think it's cringe, I know a lot of people think that, and some people might actually be offended by an email with links of what to buy someone, then be specific in describing what you like, right? So maybe it's something as simple as like, I love big chunky sweaters. Like they make me so happy. Or, I really love hoop earrings. I feel like I don't have enough. Or I'm in the market for a good pair of studs. Whatever it is, like be specific about it. Or, I feel like I need, what are these shoes again? Like I need some Sambas. I need to get some Adidas Sambas. Like I feel like I'm the last to the boat, be specific and your partner will do it. That doesn't mean, by the way, that you need to send a link to something that's $5,000. You can send a link to something that's $50. It doesn't have to be like egregious. It's the idea of setting them up to win. And I would hope that your partner does the same thing. And I think that actually men might be better than this at women, because Steven will all the time be like, I need a new winter coat. I need a new winter coat. And like he'll complain about it. And then I just get him a winter coat, honestly, on his own credit card. But that's a different thing because we're married. But, don't be afraid to say what you need. Men love to be needed and to be useful. So they actually are really excited when they feel like they've done a good thing for you. It doesn't make men or anyone feel good when they buy you something that you end up returning. So let's set everyone up to win. All right, we're still in the relationships. Ask them how they want to be supported when they come to you with a problem. So this one I talked about recently on my Instagram. I did slides from a couples therapist, and one of the couples therapists' advice were ask your partner if they want to be helped, heard, or hugged. So this is another way to set your partner up to win. Everyone wants something different when they have a problem. Personally, I guess I want like all three. Maybe that's really needy. But I guess there are times where I just want to be heard. There are times where I want to be helped. There are times where I want to be hugged. Most of the time, women, when they're telling you a problem, they don't want to be helped. And most of the time, men, when they're hearing a problem, they want to help. And so this is another opportunity for you to really set the other person up to win. You're coming home and you're like, I had such a bad day. My coworker, Stacy, was such a bitch to me, and I really thought we were friends. She went to lunch with Emily and she didn't even invite me. And then she sent a really bitchy email about a project we were doing. And I just feel really left out. And I just wanted to tell you about it because I'm just really annoyed. I don't want a solution. I don't need you to tell me that I should sit Stacy down. I just want to vent, And then your partner's going to be like, oh, what a fucking bitch that's Stacy. I can't believe she did that to you. And Emily's a bitch too. And, a man is not calling women a bitch, but you know what I mean? He's like, that's so rude of her. That's not cool. How could they ever want to have lunch without you? You're the most fun person at lunch, blah, blah, blah. Like, let him hear you and kind of join you in this pity party, right? If that's what you want. But He's not going to know that unless you specify, because most partners, mostly men, but women can do this too, want to fix the problem. So I'm very guilty of this as a Virgo rising Capricorn moon with Steven. If he has a work problem, I'm always like, well, did you call this and this? And did you find a recruiter? And did you do this? And I think there's a lot of times where he's just like, yeah, no, I'm doing all of that. I just like wanted to tell you. And it makes me grateful because now I'm like, okay, well, now I'll know in the future when you, let's say, complain about X, Y, and Z, you just want me to hear it. And I'm here to hear it. And I'm here to give you a hug. And so that's really important. And then the last relationship, setting them up to win, is if your partner loses a job. And this happens more than we'd like to deal with. And it also comes up a lot on my AMAs, you know, people being like, I just started dating someone, they are fired or this or that. And it's like, how do I support them without being annoying, you know, giving them like a time limit of when they can get a job again, not getting the ick from them if they're not doing what they should be doing, etc. This is where you're their accountability buddy. You're not nagging them. Like, did you reach out to this person? Did you reach out to this person? I gave you my dad's friend's number. Just check in on everything that's going on in like a collaborative way, not a critical way. So for example, do you think we should blah, blah, blah? Do you think it would be good if we reached out to the headquarters? Like, because this actually also goes with if you want your partner to get in better shape, if you want, you know, if you want your partner to make like a physical change too, the worst thing that you can do is make it about them having to fix a problem. And the best thing that you can do is to make it a group effort. So like, I feel like we should be eating more healthy. Do you think that we should get a gym membership? Whatever. You're in this together, and that's a whole thing. And then we're going to get into when you're married is you have to start thinking us versus the problem, not me versus you. And this is a big thing for marriage and a big thing for kids. So I guess it's a good segue. Okay, so when you're married, as I mentioned, you're supposed to be thinking us versus the problem, not me versus you. You have to see their success as your success and root for them, obviously, as much as you can without making it about yourself, comparing to yourself. So, I mean, it goes without saying, but like you want to set your partner up to win and be so successful, right? And so if let's say your partner has a startup, you are all in with them, because having your supportive partner be part of your startup process is over 50% of whether or not your business will succeed or fail, is the support you get from your partner who is your support system. And so, you know, seeing your success as both of you, not just one of you, is a great way to set them up to win. Not keeping score. This is one of the worst things that you can do in a marriage, in a relationship, when you have kids with someone, is keep score. And what I mean by that is saying like, well, I did the morning today, so you have to do the morning tomorrow. Things are never going to be easy with your partner. And I wrote a Substack about this actually in my We Met at Baby Substack. It's like, yeah, Steven and I split our mornings. We do this, we do that, but it'll never be perfectly equal. And that's just parenthood, right? And I know I'm skipping ahead. We're just talking about marriage right now, but don't keep score. So don't support them expecting equal returns. Everything balances out long term. And this goes for all stages of dating, right? Everything is going to balance out. So you're married now, you know, let's say you did X, Y, and Z for their birthday, but they only did X and Y for your birthday. It's okay. It'll even out. You get the groceries all the time. They never get the groceries, but there's other things that they're going to get, right? It will even out unless it's so ridiculously uneven to the point where your friends and family notice too, and you're being completely taken for granted, which I'd hope that you be aware of. It will even out. Okay, this is a big one. I actually wrote a Substack on this for We Met at Acme Substack, but don't be combative with them in front of other couples. And the one that I wrote was more like, don't tell your friends about your fights with your partner for the most part. Obviously, there's things that you can tell them and it's different with a best friend, whatever. But on double dates, don't be combative with your partner. There's a difference between combative and like flirty and teasy and like fun and, joking with them. But it's really terrible form to be having a fight, like mean to each other, to your partner on a double date. It's the opposite of setting them up to win. The best thing that you can do, even if there's tension at home, is to compliment your partner while on a double date. Like, look, the other day I was on a double date with Steven and I was like, you look so handsome. I hadn't seen him all day and I was like, you look so handsome. I think I shared this recently actually on an episode, so forgive me if I did. But he loved it. Like it made me happy that I got to say something that put a smile on his face. And, it made me like we felt proud of each other. And so even if you were having actual issues in the moment, it's like take the opposite right action and compliment your partner. It actually alleviates a lot of your issues because you're like, oh, you have a different perspective of it. You're like, oh, I love this person. And it's a gesture, right? And so definitely do not be combative in front of other couples. Okay, this is more for people who have been married for a long time. And this also, shout out to Mel Robbins, it's like let them change their careers or opinions or habits without punishing them for not being the version of them that you met years and years ago. So a lot of people can be intimidated by their partner changing. And this is what leads to tons of divorces. When the reality is you should give them the freedom and the encouragement to change and grow. Because if you're not changing and growing, you're moving backwards. Your relationship is stagnant. And that's just not good for you. So set them up to win by encouraging them to do new things, try new things, change, grow, therapy, understand themselves better, right? Like, don't you want to be married to more than one person in your lifetime? Let them form the new person that they are and then again, right? The next person, rather. Okay, when you have kids, this is probably when I guess I said relationship is the most important to set them up to win, but this is like, these are all really good tidbits of advice that I got when I had kids, give your partner the time and space to do whatever version of self-care that is for them. So this obviously has to be like a take turn situation, but giving your partner a moment helps them recharge and be a better parent. So for example, on the weekends, it's just Steven and I and Zachary. We don't have any help. And this is a time where for more Steven than I, because I can have like an hour or two downtime during the week, this is really his only downtime. So there's many a Sunday or a Saturday where I'm like, I'm going to take Zachary out. I don't really care what you do during this time, take a shower, jerk off, go on a walk, take a nap, whatever it is. I'm taking Zachy and we're going to go out on a little walk. We're going to go to the park. Like, meet us when is good for you. And I don't have to do that. No one's making me do that. But I know that is going to make Steven an even better parent because he has now conserved some energy, not spent his entire weekend being so on. And he's also going to appreciate me more as a partner. And he does the same for me. So if there's a Pilates class I want to go to in the morning, he's like, I know, I did yesterday's morning too. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do this morning because I want you to go to your Pilates. I know how happy it makes you. And that's a really important thing when you have kids with someone. Another thing that you can do that's really helpful is you can validate their parenting. So this is a very underrated and underdone thing, which is just really telling your partner they're such a good dad or they're such a good mom. We need to hear it. And we don't hear it enough. Like, don't pick them apart. this is actually more to women than to men, I hate to say. And I would say this to all my girlfriends to their face, but a lot of women will complain about their husbands don't help them out with the baby as much as they'd like. They're not as good at feeding the bottles. They're not as good as, at calming the baby down, this and that. They're not as good on their own with the baby. But when the husband does try to help out, the woman tries to micromanage them and tells them they're doing it, you're doing it wrong. This is not the way he likes it. You really need to change the diaper this way. You got to fan out this, you got to do that. That's not going to create a situation where the man is empowered to be alone with their son, to take care of him on their own. The best way that you can do that is by demonstrating the way that you like things done. Again, set them up to win. When I change his diaper, I like to fan it out here so that if he poops or pees, it's contained in there. Something that makes, Steven and I always do this with each other. Zachary will get in phases where he thinks something's really funny. And one of us will pick up on it. So I'll be like, right now, he thinks it's so funny when I pick up his arm and go, stinky. So I will tell Steven, he thinks it's hilarious right now when you pick up his arm and say, stinky. And so then he'll do it. And then he'll find something. Right now, he's not really loving brushing his teeth. But when I pick up his monkey and I do a dance, I had to have the monkey dance while we brush his teeth, he's doing a great job. Little things. And then we've set each other up for a successful parenting day with our child. Another thing is noticing and recognizing their effort in situations. So again, try to remember it's you against the issue. So it's so hard to align, and probably the hardest to align when you're sitting in a car with your partner and your baby is screaming, crying in the backseat, and there's really virtually nothing that you can do about it. This is the time where you are at each other's throats. You were like, don't talk, this and that. This is stressful, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, maybe there's nothing you can do about it in that moment. But the best thing that you can do is, if someone's trying to be really quiet, notice their effort, offer a nice touch, whatever it is. And this is actually related and similar. Airport traveling with your baby or your kids. My friend Nikki gave us advice, shout out to Nikki, about you don't want to be the couple who fights in the airport with their kids, whose wife is screaming at her husband or vice versa. It doesn't make the situation easier at all. And it's just such a bad look. And she gave us this advice before our first plane ride with Zachary. And it came in such handy because it was my husband who Steven ended up forgetting a bag, and I could have lost my mind, but I remembered her advice and I was just calm about it. And to the point where Steven was like, are you good? You haven't reacted to the fact that I forgot this bag. I thought you were going to murder me. And I was like, yeah, what's the point of doing that? We're going to get to our destination. It's going to be fine, whatever. Okay. And so that's setting your partner up to win. I hope that was helpful. And I was going to do a whole other episode on this, but I think we can fit it in. This part is how to achieve the 90-10. So 90% security and 10% insecurity in a relationship. In a good relationship, you have 90% security, which is pretty freaking good, right? And 10% insecurity. It is the 10% insecurity that is the natural vulnerability that keeps you honest, humble, and growing. But more importantly, that keeps you on your toes, that keeps you in love with your partner year in and year out. The 90% is your calm baseline, your trust in yourself, your solid communication, and knowing that you have a healthy partnership. Wanting your partner to feel just a touch of insecurity in a playful, healthy, damn, I don't want to lose this person mentality is all about maintaining mystery, self-respect, and high value for yourself, which has nothing to do with playing manipulative games. So none of this is meant to be toxic, but rather it's meant to be the opposite. It's way more toxic to have 100% security in your relationship and get lazy than to have some excitement that continues throughout your lives. So some examples here. Quote unquote, have them thinking, I can't take this person for granted. They chose me, but they don't need me. Or they have options, but they're here because they want to be. So that is the gist of 90-10. So how do you achieve 90 security, but 10% insecurity in your relationship. Number 1, have your own life outside of them, career, friendships, passions, plans that don't involve him or her, but not in a secretive way, just living your life, girls' trips, girls' dinners, coworker hangs, whatever it is, like have something outside, know your worth and know that you're hot, know what you're bringing to the table and like know what you deserve. Okay. So it's really confidence and wanting them, but not needing them. Like what would happen if they disappeared tomorrow? Would you be okay? And if the answer is immediately no, then why? Like I would really look into why you would be so not okay without them. Are they not an additive to your life, right? Don't let them complete you. Some examples in real life about achieving and maintaining 90-10. So don't ever say something like, sorry, I'm being so needy. No. I would say, I'm feeling a little disconnected. Totally different reaction, totally different. Like everything that you just said is so different. Sorry, I'm being so needy is super insecure, a huge turnoff versus I'm feeling a little disconnected, vulnerable, but strong and confident, right? Security starts internally, not in how your partner treats you. However, your partner should treat you like a fucking queen. So note that. Another thing that will help keep your 90-10 is surprising them with your growth. And I love this. And this can be done during therapy, this or that. But it's like if your partner thinks they have you figured out, come up with a different date idea, right? A bold opinion, a new hobby, whatever it is. Don't make something up, but keep growing, keep learning, keep reading, maintaining a flirtatious edge, like never stop bantering and flirting with your partner. The second you stop that is the second that you're probably in 100% security. Act in a way that says this relationship was amazing and I would leave if it wasn't. So never say that because just like saying that sounds so toxic and weird, but act in that way, right? For example, let's say that you can tell that your friend's husband is not treating them well. And you're like, yeah, what's a guy's name? I don't know, like Bobby. Bobby was really rude to Sandra the other night, and I noticed it, and I really did not like it. And I personally would never put up with that. Okay, great. Now your husband is aware that that behavior would not fly with you. Okay. Don't ask for permission. So this is a really big deal. Don't be like, can I go out with my girlfriends tomorrow night? No. No. Be like, hey, I'm gonna go out with the girls tomorrow night. If you have kids, you could be like, do you mind being home to relieve the sitter? Or if you don't have kids, just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go out with the girls tonight. So I'll see you when I get home. I'll see you tomorrow night, if you're just in a relationship, whatever. This is a really cute tip, and I'll end on this note, but laugh at your phone from people other than them. Meaning like it could be your best friend, it doesn't matter, but have other people in your life that make you laugh because your partner is not going to be your only source of happiness. And if you show them that and remind them of that, that keeps that 10% insecurity. They're like, oh, they're funny with other people too. I'm not going to just be there all the time unless I work and earn my place as this person's partner. So they'll step it up. And I hope that was helpful. And thank you for listening. Okay.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. Was it really short?
39 minutes. That's a good amount of time.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Maybe I'll do the ads while I'm here.
Yeah.
What's the date right now?
Oh, it's next Wednesday. Tuesday.
Okay. Tell me when.
Go for it.
Speaking of setting your partner up to win, the best thing that Stephen could have done for our partnership was joining Built. If you haven't heard of Built, you're about to thank me. Earn your favorite airline miles and hotel points through Built just by paying your rent on time. Okay, let me explain. There is no cost to join, and just by paying rent, you can unlock flexible points that can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and so much more. When you pay your rent through Built, you unlock two powerful benefits. First, you earn one of the industry's most valuable points on rent every month. No matter where you live or who your landlord is, your rent now works for you. Second, you gain access to exclusive neighborhood benefits in your city. Built neighborhood benefits are things like extra points on dining out, complimentary post-workout shakes, free mats or towels at your favorite fitness studios, and unique experiences that only Built members can access. Did I mention that it's free to join? And when you're ready to travel, Built points can be converted to your favorite miles and hotel points around the world, meaning your rent can literally take you places. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, what are you waiting for? Start paying rent through Built and take advantage of your neighborhood benefits by going to joinbuilt.com/acme. That's JOINBILT.com/acme. Make sure to use our URL so that they know that we sent you at joinbuilt.com/acme to sign up for Built today. Okay, two more. Another way that I've set Steven up to win, and I am so grateful that I figured this one out, is we have different sleep preferences. He goes on and on and on about how our mattress is too comfortable, as if that's a fucking thing. I'm sorry, that's not a thing. And I think that our mattress is absolutely perfect, but he obviously wants it firmer, and I like it softer. And I'm so grateful because the Helix new mattress topper has solved these issues, guys. Helix is just, I mean, chef's kiss. They have a dual comfort topper, guys. They're the only place that you could get, the only company that you can get a dual comfort mattress topper for couples that has personalized comfort on each side of your bed, so neither of you have to compromise on comfort or great sleep. This will save your marriage, I'm telling you. Helix offers a range of specialized 3-inch toppers to meet your unique sleep preference, like Ergo Align for spinal alignment and lower back support, classic memory foam options in luxury firm or plush, and dual comfort, as I mentioned before, for couples that each have different sleep needs. You don't have to sleep in different beds. You never have to do that because dual comfort accommodates both of your needs. Helix is so confident that they offer a 100-night sleep trial. So you can check out their topper in your new home, in your own their new topper in your own home, and make sure that you and your partner are both getting amazing sleep. They come in all sizes from twin to California king. Plus, they include a cool to the touch Glaciotex cooling fabric to help you maintain your optimal sleep temperature. So no sweating through your bed at night, which Lord knows I do way too much of. Helix also has a full lineup of premium personalized mattresses to meet every unique sleep need. So I highly recommend checking it out. There is 20% off site wide. Oh wait, sorry. I'm starting that part over. for 27% off site-wide plus free bedding bundle, sheet set, and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order, exclusive for listeners of We Met at Acme. So go to helixsleep.com/acme and you will get 27% off of site-wide plus free bedding bundle with a sheet set and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Again, this is exclusive for listeners of We Met at Acme. Go to helixsleep.com/acme now. Okay, one more. If you guys have been listening to the podcast, you know that I'm in the midst of going through IVF again. I went through it for Zachary. And I have to tell you, there's nothing better than having the peace of mind of knowing that you have an embryo that's been tested and is ready to use. So I want to tell you about Orchid. Nope. So I want to tell you about Orchid. They offer something that gives you more information and potentially more peace of mind during your IVF journey. Orchid provides the world's first clinically validated whole genome sequencing embryo report. Here's what makes them different. While traditional PGT testing screens about 1% of an embryo's DNA, Orchid screens 99.9%. They're looking at neurodevelopmental disorders like autism, various cancers, birth defects, and chromosomal abnormalities, giving you a much more comprehensive picture of each embryo's health potential. You get access to 100 times the data compared to other embryo testing methods, and you can screen for over 1,000 plus serious diseases that other tests can't detect. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know that I've recently had my own IVF doctor from Spring Fertility on, and she talked about how when you only have a few embryos, every transfer feels like it carries the weight of the world. With Orchid screening, you can have more confidence that you are selecting the embryo with the best chance of a healthy pregnancy and baby. They also offer a couples report if you're starting to think of family planning. And listen, IVF is emotionally draining. This is a really great way to be more confident in your decisions. The more data, the better, in my opinion. Access Orchid's exclusive offer for We Met at Acme listeners at orchidhealth.com/WMAA to sign up for an intro call with one of their experts and learn more about if Orchid's embryo reports are right for you. We Met at Acme listeners will get access to pre- and post-test genetic counseling at no cost. Visit orchidhealth.com/WMAA to order Orchid's couples report for you and your partner to get early insight into genetic risks that your future children may have. This is a really wonderful way to get ahead of things or to get through things if you're already undergoing the process of IVF. So check it out by going to orchidhealth.com/WMAA.